futures up 249 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Tell me why.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
Hey, Jill, congratulations on your son getting into the college of his dreams and with a full scholarship, too. Yes, we are so proud of him. You know, I have to be honest. I'm a bit worried about our daughter getting into college. It's so competitive out there, and I feel overwhelmed with where to start. I completely understand. Listen, I felt the same way, and then I met Dr. Gina of Education Prep Centers. She put a plan in place that helped our son stand out in the admissions process and that gave us a peace of mind for how to create a financial roadmap for his future. Wow, that's great. Sounds like I need to give her a call. Yes, she definitely helped our son find the perfect college, meet all his deadlines, and help us feel less anxious about the whole process. You need to reach out to her. Just check out educationprepcenters.com and set up a complimentary assessment with Dr. Gina. You'll be so glad you did. Education Prep Centers, college admissions made easy.
I would like to personally invite you out to the Blue Family Fund Casino Night, an evening of all your favorite casino games, next level auction items, great music, and an open bar. February 26th, 7 p.m. at the beautiful TX Whiskey Ranch in Fort Worth, Texas. All proceeds from the evening will benefit families of first responders. You need to get your tickets today at bluefamilyfund.org.
Thank you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of JoCo Vibes here on JoCo Community Radio. I'm Tiffany Carlin with Nona Reed. We got a couple of great guests joining us this morning on our show, both running for Precinct 3 here in Johnson County, Texas. Our first guest is Mr. Andy Nolan. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning, Johnson County.
Thanks for joining us. I know you were already on here on very early Monday morning. It wasn't even that bright out yet when you were
No, it was not.
coming in here, as I saw through the camera.
Uh-huh.
And I always like to see Kim. She's dressed, decked out, shirt, hat.
Yeah.
And then she's got like, Ugg slippers on or something like that. And I'm like, man, that's the way to go to work. But good morning. So we got 26 minutes with you. So I want to make great time of it. It seems like a lot of people around here know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But we have to remember that there's 50,000 people here. So there's still a lot of people out there who don't know Andy Nolan. I'm sure that they see your signs everywhere. In fact, I was driving behind the dry cleaner van and I went, man, okay, they know him too.
Yep.
And that's because, you're a lifer. You grew up here, right?
No, actually, I grew up in Mesquite, and I call South Georgia home. That's where my family is
South
from.
Georgia.
Uh-huh.
I did not know that. So did you go to high school here?
I grew up in North Mesquite.
Okay, that's it. Everything's from there.
But your girls grew up here.
They did, yeah. I'm an Army brat. We planted in Mesquite, Texas when I was a kid, and that's where I grew up. And then later on, moved to Fort Worth after I got hired on by the police department. Not Fort Worth, Burleson, after I got hired on by the Fort Worth Police Department.
And so how'd you get to know all these people here already? You've been in Burleson since what?
97.
Since 97. So, you've been here long enough to really get around and get to know people, get to know the community. And that is where you are today, your passion for getting involved in helping the community. And this is your next step.
Yep, exactly.
Talk about that. What made you decide to run for Precinct 3 Justice of the Peace?
Well, just the quick version is I've had 3 jobs in my life. I've moved to Burleson. I love this community. I've been here since 97, like we said. And I'm just getting to that milestone. I've reached the finish line with my police career where I can just move on and serve here. I'm dedicated to service, and I just love serving. So forget it.
And you have your Juris Doctorate.
Yes, I do.
So you're a licensed attorney
I am.
here in Texas.
I am.
And from what I read, you just use it to help people.
More or less.
Right?
More or less. I didn't take any money for anything this last year, but I have in the past. When I got out of law, long story short, started in the police department, had a good long time having fun and helping people and serving people. And then I just had my children. I was like, I want to go back and better myself professionally, be a better role model for them. And I wanted to see them that, wanted to show them what they were capable of attaining. So I went through my undergrad degree, said, what now? And then I don't want to be another cop with a criminal justice degree. It's almost a cliche. So I said, I'm going to go back and take the LSAT, just see how I did. Well, I got into law school, and fast forward now, I'm at the ability now where I can just, if I want to go do whatever, I can do whatever. I have the finish line made with my police department, and it's been a blessing for me because I can serve and help others that may need legal help.
Do you find that having your Juris Doctorate is, going to be helpful as being a justice of the peace? I'll give you my opinion after you share yours, but I ask that because there is an experience that comes with the education that you've had. So
Sure.
Talk about how that is going to help you in this position.
Well, the degree itself, I mean, we're talking about the issues that are coming before that court now are getting to be very, very complex. The amounts in controversy that they hear now in small claims court are $20,000. When they came up with this court, it was the court closest to the people, and that's very important. And I'm a people person, and I love my community. I serve my community. I spend my money in the community, especially with the businesses here. So I have that going for me, and that's an important part of it. But then the complex side, the law side of it, that also is important because you have to be able to follow the law. And these things are getting very complex. Landlord-tenant disputes, debt claims, truancy cases, mental health warrants, arrest warrants, search warrants. I mean, these are very technical legal issues, and you've got to have a foundation, I believe, in a lot of help. Now, the other justices of the peace don't have this degree, which is fine, but I want to be able to serve and help everybody in the county, not just citizens in JP3. I want to help management in the county as well as the other judges.
I firmly believe that a JP should have a law degree, in my opinion, for exactly what you're talking about. I mean, these are serious issues that are coming before you. And when you're, I don't know what type of training a JP goes through, but it certainly doesn't amount to a 3-year law degree and the case study and the casework that you do. I'm married to an attorney, probably only because he was telling you the other morning. But it's really important. It's a lot of bigger cases than before. So, I mean, you're coming out of law enforcement, talk about some of your history, with Fort Worth and really how that brought you to this place today too. Because it's a challenging career. And thank you for your service, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And thank you for all of our military service people out there. I came from a military family, belong to One Tribe 22 Kill, which is an organization that helps veterans and law enforcement first responders cope with all the stresses of work. And hopefully its biggest thing is suicide prevention, which is a big problem. But I've had 3 jobs in my life, sat groceries in high school, worked up my way up through Maynard's food store, now defunct, and all the way to a full-time meat cutter. I left there, I went to the Dallas jail, and I've just kind of worked in this law enforcement family, kind of working towards that. Came to Fort Worth and Fort Worth Police Department, and I've just made the milestone now. I worked as a patrol officer for 16 years. I've answered every kind of call you can think of. I was a detective. I wrote every kind of arrest warrant and search warrant you can think of, except for some of the more specialized ones. And I worked my way through that, promoted again to supervisor, a sergeant, and I supervised a team of community relations officers. So that's our forte, is working with the community, being hands-on, engaging day to day. The patrol officers come in and they answer calls, and then sometimes they leave a wake of other issues because they're just there for a minute and they help somebody and then they're gone and they're still left with leftover questions. And that's where my unit comes in. And we are the bond between the police department and the public. So I think that really helps me become very well suited for this position and engaging with the community. Of course, the legal background that helps as well.
It does help. I mean, it does help, and I didn't know that about you. So until I read about you last night, because I don't know you, I've never met you before. So, and Nona and I were actually talking about that. When you're looking at elections more on the county side, there are there's opportunities to meet so many new people, and we don't know any of you.
Right.
It's the great thing about having all of the candidates on from this election is that we don't know you, and it gives us more of a raw opportunity to really ask the questions. And so, for anybody who's out there watching or listening on the radio, if you have a question that you want to ask Andy directly, please feel free to put it in the comments, or you can call in at 817-637-2585. That's 817-637-2585, and we will take some live questions. Keep it clean and keep it respectful. That's the way we like to keep it here. And of course, you can always contact Andy directly and ask him any question that you want. You can call 817-991-6876. And reach out to Andy personally. And you have an email address too that everybody can reach out, right?
Andrew Nolan for JP at gmail.com. And my website is andrewnolanforjp.com.
Awesome. So you're very accessible.
Very.
We didn't have any problem getting a hold of you ourselves, even though you were just here on early Monday morning. And so we thank you, number one, for saying yes again.
Thank
you for coming on.
Oh, it's an honor and a privilege.
What else is it that you want people to know about you, about running for this position? I know sometimes people will ask that, well, what makes you a better candidate than the other candidate? But truly, that's a hard thing to say in some ways, unless you guys know each other personally. I don't. Then that would be sort of weird. Like, hey, we're besties, but we're both going to run for the same thing. But what do you think the voters are looking for when they're looking for a JP?
I think they're looking for a person, a human being, someone that's going to expose themselves a little bit and open up to them. I am a sweetheart. I love people. I really do. I'm a Christian conservative. I attend Pathway. I've been here 25 years. I am one of you. A lot of folks have a negative connotation of attorneys, much like car dealers. I don't hang my hat on that. That is not me as a person. And my folks that know me, they know I love to go out and listen to live music, and I love to be with my family and my friends and kick back and have a good time. And that's who I am as a person.
That's who my husband is too. You would not know he was an attorney if you met him on the street, right?
Yeah. I mean,
and attorneys get a bad rap. And so I'm just going to talk about you, not him.
That's fine.
Because they do get a bad rap until they need you.
Right.
So until they're asking for help. So, or until they're appearing in front of you in JP court. So let's hope that nobody's coming up in front of you yet, but we know that does happen. Somebody's got a question for you. Andy, do you know my uncle Sergio De Leon from Precinct 5? It's a question from Jesse Garcia. Random, but
would that be in Tarrant County?
Precinct 5 is.
I thought that's my precinct, I think.
Precinct 5? Where is your precinct? Where is
Well,
Precinct 3? Because I don't live in your
only
precinct.
We have 4 commissioners' precincts in Johnson County. So
Right.
if it's 5, it would have to be in another precinct somewhere.
Yeah.
And Precinct 3 is,
Okay.
for all intents and purposes, let's just say Ellis County on the east side, Tarrant County on the north side, 67 on the south side with a little bit of a space that goes down to the courthouse down there, and then 35W on the west, including Briar Oaks.
Okay.
So I just say 35 because people know where that is. I
I'm
say
close
Briar
to
Oaks.
Cross Timbers, so.
Yeah. So and it just cuts down a little swath all the way down to 707 down to Alvarado.
Okay.
JJ Wagner just said, please get a bad rap too. There is that negative
Yes.
connotation sometimes with
So do
police
teachers.
officers, and it's so unfortunate because you can have one bad apple in any industry and give that whole industry a bad name. And when all retrospect, you're putting yourselves out there on a daily basis and subjecting yourself to danger to protect people and to just keep law and order and justice. Do you have a moment as a police officer that is one of your most favorite moments?
Oh Lord.
Or most exciting?
Any police officer could sit back that's been in this business for 20 something years and go, oh wow, remember this. Oh wow, remember that. We could be here all day telling cop stories. Let's just say it's not as fun as it used to be. Any cop that's been around a while will say, yeah, you know what, it was a lot more fun a long time ago. And everybody knows me, knows I'm a cop first. I've got scars. I've got scars. And I've been in the hospital several times. So
I don't know how anybody.
It's been an adrenaline rush. It's not like that anymore. As you promote, you kind of lose your finger off the pulse of that. But I've had some really, really fun pursuits and caught some really, really big bad guys. And, as a detective, officers put guys in jail. Detectives put people in prison.
Yeah.
And,
that's a good comparison. I've never heard it
and
said like that before.
and that's one thing about being a police officer. There's some that get to go to the game, and there's some that actually know the rules and know how to play. And that's one of the things that's motivate me in my legal education and my performance evaluations at work, and always pushing myself to be better and to work harder.
I can't even imagine someone coming up against you and then not just listening to you when they say down, stop, whatever, because we were just talking about you're 6'8".
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm going to go 7'1" with the hat. So it's very intimidating, and not in a bad, I mean, I don't feel like I'm scared of you in that way.
No.
I just mean, but I could not imagine.
I'm a sweetie.
Well, but your average bad guy doesn't know that. So, in those moments, I just find it odd that somebody would even, they wouldn't cower to you.
The general rule is treat everybody like family as long as you can. And even when they don't do what you want them to do, we still have that brother or that cousin or somebody in our family that just pushes the limit.
Yes. Yeah. I've come from a big family. I understand it. So I've got a question for you. Andy, are you the only attorney running for JP3?
I am.
You are.
Yes, I
Okay.
am.
And another question for you
And
here.
I wanted to say that I did that at night. I didn't grow up very wealthy or anything like that, and then just came straight out of high school into college. I worked for a lot of years. I was a 30-year-old college freshman. I went to Eastville Junior College in Mesquite, took 18 hours, came to Fort Worth Police, went back to school at 30, took every class I could at TCC that would transfer to Dallas Baptist, and then did night school, and then LSAT and law school. So I was a student at night for almost 10 years with a wife and 2 kids.
I kind of know that life. I do know that life. Did you pass the bar the first time?
No.
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 Okay. How many times?
No, with me, it was lucky number 3.
All right. Hey,
There's
if you
nothing
can
wrong
make it
with
to
that.
3, that's fantastic. And you are not the,
Well,
it's
the problem was
very common.
The problem was your bar prep classes are kind of catered towards the traditional student. I had to work full time while I was studying for bar prep. So instead of taking bar prep during the day, I was at work. And instead of studying what I learned during the day, I was taking bar prep at night. So I never had time to go back over the notes. So I had to find a way to streamline that process.
It's hard.
Yeah.
My husband was a full-time law student, and he did the same thing you did. He went to junior college, law school, put himself through it all himself, and it was a struggle. And but he was able to. I know the difference in exactly what you're saying, because he was full-time student, so he was able to.
Yes.
He was bartending at night, but
My favorite law professor said, Professor Joe Spurlock, he said, law school is a mistress, is a very jealous mistress, and she doesn't perform for you.
did you have?
So that's what it was like going through. It was.
Did you have that law professor that told you, when you sat down that first day, that look around you, half this class will not be here?
Absolutely, especially in the night
I
program.
hate when they
Yeah.
say that.
But it's the
I
truth.
know, but it just kind of.
It's a fact. And then take
it
that with
is
it, and
a
then
fact.
take
I
a
mean-
police career to go with it.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh!
I
And,
know.
I've been married for 25 years. And
God bless her.
It takes exactly.
Seriously, because
Thank you, honey.
Yeah, that's a.
Mhm.
I just God bless her.
Oh,
That's
Yes.
She's the reason
That's
why
an
I'm the man I
amazing-
am today.
it's an
She
amazing
is.
woman right there, and I haven't even met
Yes.
her yet. But it's grueling. It's grueling an entire family, and the idea of being a wife and knowing that your husband's going out and putting himself in danger every single day, and having to think about that, go about your daily duties and all that, and just go, okay, all right, he's home.
Yeah.
I truthfully can't imagine what that feels like.
Helping people never gets old.
Yeah.
And
It feels good.
It's an addiction. It is. It is.
It feels good. I think I got some more questions for
We
you,
sure
and a
do.
lot of good mornings.
Yes.
Mike Purdue says, "Good morning, Andy,
Hey, what's up,
Tiffany,
Mike?
and Nona." Morning, Mike.
Yes.
Question for Mr. Nolan: if you become JP, can you be a judge on a case and not be an attorney, and be able to look at both sides as a judge and leave the attorney aside?
Well, I have to follow the law as it's written. But to answer your question, absolutely yes. Because I'm one of you. I just want us to be safe, and I'm going to treat everybody fairly. I promise. That's just how it is. I'm a people person. I love everybody.
That's a very good answer. I got another
Yes.
question for you. Mr. Purdue is asking you. He's got younger nieces and nephews who graduated from North Mesquite. So, and this is up to you if you want to answer it. I say, yeah, I don't think you're having a problem with it. What year did you graduate? from Mesquite High School?
I graduated from North Mesquite Stallions. That is 1991.
1991. Me too.
I'm a 1990.
You're a
All
1990. I'm a 91. So
We're all about the same.
no
age.
shame in our. There's no
Nope.
shame in our game. So I guess Mike, you're going to have to see if you've got anyone in the family who possibly graduated.
I was the Ferris Bueller of high school. Everybody liked me. I got along with everybody.
I could see
Could
that.
see that definitely.
The big guy, football. Any sports when you were in high school?
I really,
It's a stereotypical question. I know.
I know. I was slow and clumsy when I was in middle school. I had a coach that just pushed me, and I detested it. So I hated playing offensive line. So I got into basketball, and I've been playing basketball my whole life.
Okay, you just were like, no, I'm not going to do that.
No, basketball. I pitched a little bit in baseball.
It
too.
saved your brain.
Okay.
It did.
Yeah.
I seriously.
Yeah, no argument here.
Yeah. Helmets back then were
But your height
nothing
probably
but
helps with
mush.
basketball.
Nothing but mush. Did you continue to play in college at all, or
No, actually, I played up through my second year of high school. My mother had multiple sclerosis. She had a very, very acute case of it. So I actually had to go to work. I had to help out with my family a lot more. It was my father and I had a grandmother that was living with us simultaneously. She was dying of pancreatic cancer.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
No, man, it taught me a lot of lessons about growing up and life lessons. They leave an imprint on your soul, and that one did. But I had to take care of my mother, and we put my mother in a nursing home when I was about 15 years old, and then I had to go work full time. As much as I shouldn't say full time because we had labor laws back then, right?
Right.
Anyways, we wasn't supposed to work more than 18 hours a week, and not after 7, and I never did that. But Minyards is out of business now, so I guess I can say what I want.
Are they completely out of business? Because I thought they were still on.
I thought there were
I thought they were
but
still
maybe
up
not.
north, and I thought there was
Kinda
Minyards
like
still in
Piggly Wiggly.
Minnesota.
It was a local company, and one of my best friends, his dad was upper management for Minyards, so they actually swapped names. I think around 2003, sold to another company, kept the name, and then they just gradually went down.
Mhm.
That's what it
store-
was. Because
store by store.
there was a Minyards in Lubbock.
Mhm.
I lived there for 9 years. And I do
Mhm.
remember the Minyards there. That's where I.
They own
That's where I
Second
saw
Save,
it.
Second
Second
Save,
Save.
and Carnival too. I think.
Yep. Which are there's stores up in Minnesota that are all
Mhm.
those.
Okay.
But now that's where my husband's from. So that's the only reason I know that.
Right.
I'm like, wow, you have a lot of information about Minnesota.
That's right.
Like, yeah, it's just random. It's just random. All right. So there's a few more really important questions that I know people want you to answer.
All right.
This could make and break what happens beginning on February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Go vote and take your sweetie some flowers.
Yes. Yes. And do it in either direction. Vote and flowers or flowers and vote, whichever way you do it. Kind of looks cool if you go to vote and you got a handful of roses and
Mhm.
people look
You're
at you in
gonna
a
get
really
a lot
great
of
way.
cool. You're gonna get a lot of coolness points, I think. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. You ready for these tough
Let's
questions?
go.
All right. Toilet paper, under or over?
Over.
Over. Yes.
That's a no-brainer.
Thank God. But for some people,
I-
it's not.
No, my wife's the worst. I have to flip it out all the time. I
And
just
we
don't.
have a friend that likes to mess with her.
I don't even
all
say
the
anything
time.
anymore. I just change it. It's like the toilet seat. I always just clean it, put it down.
At least you
All
put
right.
it down. Thank you. Not all people do.
So obviously before this early voting begins, we've got a big football game on Sunday. You got a pick for Sunday? Do you want to say?
Nah.
You don't want to say?
Nah.
Not
I
even
don't
not even
jinx
who
'em.
you think?
I-
You don't wanna
I-
jinx it.
I'll go
Okay.
Rams.
You'll go Rams.
I'll go Rams.
Look how I pulled that out of you. I can't believe that you answered that.
Oh, it was so hard to ferret things out of me. Yeah.
So Rams. See, and I have to tell you, I don't really have I don't have a favorite of these two. My team got knocked out, but my youngest son he wants the Rams to win. And I don't even know how that came about, except that he likes one of the football players on
I
the
just
team.
got a
So
feeling. That's all.
you got a
Just-
feeling it's the
there's no-
Rams.
yeah, no-
Okay. All right.
No,
So
no objective criteria, just a feeling.
we got those questions out of the way, and now people can tally those up. He's an over toilet paper guy, and
Did you ask the question where Jamie asked if he was the only attorney?
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes, and he answered that.
Yes,
Okay.
I am, and I don't hang my hat on that. Everybody, I don't
right.
hang my head on that. I don't hang my hat on that. It's just what I have to bring to the table.
Okay, so another
She-
question.
yeah, I think she was in the middle of something and accidentally pushed enter.
Okay, if
So-
someone decides to support you, do you need poll workers?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Please contact me.
Okay.
Okay.
And I'm the most accessible person. We've talked about that. Call me. You got my phone number. You've got my website, Andrew Nolan for JP, or email me at andrewnolanforjp@gmail.com.
And the countdown right now is 4 days and 14 hours and 33 minutes until we begin to vote. Okay. I love this. I
Right.
love that you have the counter. I love the day counter. You got the
Oh,
countdown on your website.
Yeah, we're getting down to the wire.
The last day to register to vote, you guys missed it. It was January 31st. We
Yeah.
posted and shared about it as much as we could.
I did too.
And because that's the most important thing.
Right.
Right.
This is one of the greatest things about being an American is that you have a right to vote. You have a right to use your voice. So please get out and vote. We have very low turnout in this county for voting, and we need to change that.
Absolutely.
So
And I've got to throw this out too real quick. This is it for us as far as the county goes. We have the state elections and, Abbott versus Beto. That's probably how that's going to wander out. We can prophesy that all we want. But the primary is where it's at for Johnson County. There's only one Democrat that's filed in any of the local races, and that's for Judge Shaw in November. For us, it's March 1st. That's the end all be all unless we have a runoff. So get out and vote. The
Right.
primary elections, because we're voting for our primary candidates for the Republican Party. There's no Democrat that's filed in any of the local elections.
right, there is no Democratic primary in Johnson County. Excuse me. And we prefaced that yesterday morning because we
Right.
didn't want any Democrats coming at us thinking, oh, you're not having any Democrats on. There are no Democrats for the primary. There are only Republicans in Johnson County. And so we are focusing on these wonderful men and women who've stepped up to the plate and are putting themselves out there for these positions. And as we've seen from, recent elections, this is not an easy thing to do. This is not I'm just going to run and put it out there. It is time consuming. It is mentally and emotionally. It's a mental, emotional commitment to do this. So again, just want to thank you for even stepping up to run for office because it has its challenges in itself. So early voting begins Monday, February 14th. Last day of early voting is Friday, February 25th. And of course, election day is March 1st. And that is for your primaries. So check I think we already posted where all the voting locations are for the primary. But
I don't know if
we'll
we have, but
repost
we'll
and
double check.
and recap that
I
for
might have missed
everybody.
it.
Well, please look at jcrvtx.com. That's got the candidates on who's running, and they're going to have their little bios on
Okay.
there. Also, I want everybody to be safe. This is
Yes.
this is why I'm doing this. It's not a stepping stone for me. My heart is right here in Johnson County.
Andy, give everybody your phone number, email address, and your website again. Actually, give everybody I'm going to be posting it, but I want you to go ahead and share it out loud for those who are listening on the
The
radio.
website is andrewnolanforjp.com. Email is andrewnolanforjp@gmail.com. And my phone number is 817-991-6876.
Very accessible. I just want to I want to say this to everybody who's listening and watching. If you've got a question for a candidate and you really want to know more about them, reach out to them personally and get to know them, ask those questions. Any last thing here? We got 50 seconds left. Anything else that you want anyone to know about you other than what you've already shared with us?
My heart is in Johnson County, and I love it here. This is not a stepping stone for me. I really, really am happy. I've reached the milestone in my career, and I'm ready to slow things down and serve here in our local community because I think it's important. We need strong leaders, and the time is now. And people are tired of having weak leaders.
Yes, I
Yes.
straight up agree. Thank you again. We got 20
Yes.
seconds, and we've got another candidate coming up here just after this commercial break. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you so much.
I look
for
forward
having
to
me.
seeing you again. Good luck in the race.
Thank you so much.
Whoever wins, regardless of that, we'd love to have you back at this table and
Right.
talk more about what's going on in our county, and of course the things that you can talk about. Obviously,
Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you.
God bless. We'll be right back.
Abnormal realities.
I love my mom.
Yep. She sent me a message.
My mom did?
Yeah, Wednesday night. And she invited me over tomorrow night to watch Titanic and share a bowl of popcorn. And I accepted.
You did?
Yep.
That would be fun.
And she calls it Chaps Only Night every Saturday night.
Look,
Miss Dixie,
Look,
how you doing? He said, it's my mom, bro. All right, it's my mom.
I want to hear the answer to the Titanic and popcorn. Go ahead, Mom. What's up?
Oh!
Hi, boys.
Hi,
I just
Mom.
wanted to ask Rocky if he wanted butter on that popcorn or not.
I
my
would rather
God.
have the butter somewhere else, but if popcorn's the only place I can have it, I'll take it.
Hey,
dude.
nobody says I can't roll around in it for a little bit.
All right, Mom.
That is my
Love you.
girl. I love you,
Mom.
Dixie.
Abnormal realities
Bye, Mom. Love you.
Dixie.
Bye, I love you too.
with Ron and Rocky. Weekdays, 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. on JoCo Community Radio.
Holy crap.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
Out of deck carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they got you covered.
Welcome back to the second half of JoCo Vibes here on JoCo Community Radio. I'm Tiffany Carlin with Nona Reed, and we got a couple new faces at the table that we're going to introduce you with. Mr. Ron Phillips is jumping in from Mojo 50 Radio. Good morning, Ron.
How are you? Good morning.
Good morning. You're off air.
I am off the air.
I know I said
Awesome,
when I walked out to say
awesome.
hi, I was like, I feel like I just heard you.
You did.
I
That's
know
right.
I did.
Well, for those tuning in for the first time, JoCo Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas. No, I do need it. That way I don't have to, try and squint. We are the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and we are live 365 on the TuneIn Radio Network. To listen, go to tuneinjoco.com, where you can download the free app. All of our shows can also be found on any one of your favorite podcast platforms, such as Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, and Spreaker.com. We are also streaming live video on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/C/JoCo Community Radio. We're also streaming live currently on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook as well. So you can, if you're a watcher, you can watch us. If you're a listener, go to TuneIn or go to tuneinjoco.com. Thanks for tuning in. This episode of More brought to you by Patriot Claims, formerly Next Level Claims, making your insurance work for you. That's right. Hail happens, storms happen. You got to have someone who's ready to advocate in your corner and make sure your insurance company pays you the full amount of your claim properly. This company tends to focus on the commercial side, but will help you with your homeowner issues as well if you're having that challenge. So reach out to your local Texas sales rep, Nona Reed. That's right. She's your local rep. Get her in your corner before the next storm hits. Call her at 844-TEX-HAIL. That's 844-TEX-HAIL. And she can help you get paid properly.
Yes.
So it doesn't cost you anything, by the way. It's a public adjuster will come out from their team and assess the damage and help you with your insurance company, because 99% of the time, they don't want to pay. They don't pay. So again, we've swapped chairs here. We've swapped guests. Mr. Andy Nolan is gone, and now joining us is Wes Powell. Good morning, Mr.
Good
Powell.
morning.
Good morning.
Wonderful to meet you.
Thank you for joining us.
You as well are running for Precinct 3 here in Johnson County, Texas. Happen to work out that this is the day that worked out for the two of you, so you're back to back. I hope that's okay with
I think
you.
will be positive for both of them.
Yeah,
people are listening and can hear both of theirs. I wished I could get Miss Span on, but I couldn't.
Well, you've been here for 42 years of service to the country and community. Talk about
Thank you.
that. Talk about that service, by the way.
Well, I'm a true patriot. Okay. When I was a kid, I had older cousins, and I remember telling them when I grew up, I want to be a cowboy or whatever. And they always said, but first you got to serve your country. And I was like in junior high when Saigon fell. The draft stopped right after that, but those feelings never went away. In fact, in junior high, I was the kid that went out to the flagpole every morning and raised the flag. Okay.
Which is an honor.
Right.
Yeah. It's an honor to do that.
I was proud to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. And those feelings just never left. So I joined the Navy out of high school, and I did 20 years in 28 days. And,
Right.
and I thought I was going to hit the 20-year mark and get out, but they said, no, you got to finish the month. So, so I'm actually glad I did retire at 40 years old. I didn't stay in because I started a second career as a peace officer. And it's hard getting a job as a cop when you're 40 years old.
Yeah.
So while I was in the Navy, I ended up getting divorced during my second enlistment.
Very common. Isn't
Well,
it?
yeah, the military
Yeah.
does have a high divorce rate, but I was a rarity. I actually got custody of my son, who was 2 years old at the time.
Wow.
And I was a single parent for 14 years.
Wow.
And
So you were single parenting it while
active duty Navy.
Wow.
Navy,
Yes, ma'am.
and then
That's a
became a
tough
peace
thing.
officer.
That is very
Yeah.
tough.
That's a tough thing.
The main thing is you got to plan ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When I had full custody, so he would spend the summers with his mom, and during that time, anytime we had anything going on for the squadron, any deployments, going places, I volunteered for all the stuff during the summer. That way, it wouldn't seem so bad if I couldn't do it during the rest of the year.
Right.
And a lot of the stuff happens during the summer.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
Wow.
so that's when I retired. I got married a year before I retired, and married the sweetest little girl I've yet to meet. Okay, seriously, she is. I don't know what I did for God to bless me with her.
That's great.
But and she's put up with so much stuff even before the campaign. And when I retired, I could have walked across the runway out here at Carswell and gone to work at Lockheed. Made good money, good benefits. I was a metalsmith. I actually worked on the structure of the aircraft, and they build them there. So
Yes.
it wouldn't have been much of a problem. But I like helping people. So I became a cop. And started out in Parker County. And then but I ended up the last 16 years, I was with the constable's office here in Precinct 3. Okay.
Wonderful.
Now, I'm 62 years old. Okay. So 16 years equates to a quarter of my life that I've dedicated to Precinct 3.
Right.
And in the constable's office, you actually work in the court system. I've done everything from process serving, being a bailiff, to serving warrants, to getting everything ready when you have jury trials and things like that. So I know all the ins and outs. You carry out the orders of the court, So I have a real practical knowledge of how that court works.
Wonderful.
So where you are today, running for this JP position, what sparked your interest to have that desire to step into that role?
Well, when I heard that the current judge, Pat Jacobs, was going to retire, I just felt like I was the right fit for the job. I'm not. I liked the thought of promoting from within, but you don't get promoted to judge. So,
Right.
But yeah, I feel at home there. I mean, it's the JP court from my precinct, which I know every back road. I've been there for. In May, we'll have lived there 21 years, and
Just kind of know it like the back of your hand.
No one's hiding from you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, some people have, but that was because they didn't want to spend the weekend in the Stony Lonesome.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean I laugh because I live, further out into the county.
Yeah.
And so I do have a constable that lives near me. I don't know which one it is that lives near me. And so every now and then I'll see him in the morning, and You know, they typically don't chase you down if you're speeding, and I'm not admitting to anything.
Well,
But it's likely that I'm a little heavy on the foot
Well,
out there.
when somebody has been a peace officer for a long time, they learn to pick their fights. And as far as I was concerned, you were going to have to do something pretty stupid to get me out of the car. And if you did something that stupid, you were probably going to get a ticket.
Yeah. I that makes sense. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a constable in Johnson County pull someone over on the side of the
Oh,
road. I mean,
yeah.
I haven't seen it. I haven't
Yeah.
witnessed it.
Yeah.
I would like to, though, because I'd like to know what that person did.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm going to go with probably a kid. Is just my guess, because kids tend to do things that are a little dumb. But we say that.
Usually a Friday night or Saturday.
Yeah,
night.
right.
Yeah.
Do you have what's your most interesting story serving at the constable's office?
One of my favorite stories to tell is on the man who is now the constable. When we were both the deputies, we had to fight or tackle a naked, sweaty meth head who was having a very bad day. Okay.
It sounds like you were about to have a really bad
Well,
I
day.
know. That's
well,
what I was thinking. Oh,
Well,
do I have
the-
to?
the constable's name is Steve Williams,
Yeah.
and as we rushed this guy, it was in the in bedroom of a single wide mobile home with nothing in it. There wasn't even any carpet. Okay, and when we get him down, I realized there were two other sheriff's deputies coming in behind us. I didn't even know they were on
Yeah.
scene, but we get the guy and we cuff him up, and I put leg irons on him, and Steve was standing on the chain between his feet to keep him from kicking around. And he takes out his flashlight and he starts looking around on the ground. And I was like, "What you looking for, Steve?" And in a real loud voice, he said, "My hearing aid."
Oh man.
Oh boy. Possibly stuck underneath a naked man.
Yes.
Did he let it go, or did he find it?
We found it.
I was gonna say, hearing aids have changed quite a bit. That was how many years ago was that?
That was probably
approximately?
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they're expensive.
Yeah.
And small.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they've gotten really small. My dad's is, I mean, you could barely even see it.
Yep.
So when it has fallen out, I mean, it's like it's like trying to find a hair follicle.
They're really cool now. You can Bluetooth and play music from
Yes,
your phone.
yes, completely. That's exactly what he does. And I
And
don't.
what a story you can tell your grandkids about where your hearing aids have been. right?
Yes.
Wow.
You would not believe where the things I've seen.
Only imagine.
What are some of your favorite things about Johnson County? You know, the court system in itself, that intrigues you to want to stay in this realm of service to the people of Johnson County.
Well, the main reason I want to stay here is because it's my home. When I was in the military, I moved every 4 years from a big city to another big city where I didn't know anybody.
Mhm.
And like the first time after I got custody of Andy, my son's named Andy.
Who did
we-
that?
Right.
Well, he was 4 years old, and I got orders. We moved from Naval Air Station, Grand Prairie, Dallas and Grand Prairie. We moved up to D.C. to Andrews Air Force Base, and I didn't know anybody up there. And I had to do that every 4 years. So I'm going to nail my feet to the ground. I ain't
Yeah.
going nowhere. As my record proves, I'm a service type of guy. I like helping people. This is it. I mean, I don't want to go anywhere after this. This is not, this is the pinnacle for me. I'm not going to pursue anything after this. Once I believe in term limits, and
Yeah.
I figure 3 would probably be my limit at the very most. Y'all are going to have to convince me for that third one too.
Yeah.
But once I'm done, I'm done. My wife will be retired by then, and we'll be on the porch holding hands.
What's your, when you look at term limits, where's your level of term limits? Do you believe it should be term limits from the city level all the way to the top of our government?
Yes, ma'am.
Me too.
Well, that's kind of a double-edged sword because, and the people who are against term limits, their argument is if you put a limit on it, then you're limiting people's choice who they want to serve. And I'm like,
see, that's not
some
the case. There's a major position in this country right now that has term limits on it.
Right.
You betcha.
The very top one,
Right.
got term limits,
Right.
and
that
still doesn't affect people being able to vote.
Right.
The bottom line is we've got people in positions of authority right now up in DC who have been there a long time.
They're falling asleep
Mhm.
in the meetings.
I mean, we're even seeing that at local levels too.
So for you to talk about term
Mhm.
limits, that's important for me to hear as a voter, right?
Yep.
So I mean,
well, I was only bringing
new
that-
ideas, new blood, new stuff like that. But while you're in office, get everything you can done,
Right.
and everybody who voted for you will support you in doing that, right?
Well, the only reason I brought that up is because I like hearing both sides of the story.
Yeah.
No,
I'm a reasonable person, and you can talk to me. But I myself personally, I'm for term limits, and I'd be glad if actually we need to have a what do you call it with the states, where the states get together for changing a constitutional amendment, a convention of the states.
Convention, yeah.
And we need to do that.
We really do.
Oh, yes.
Because the people who make the rules other than that are the ones who want term.
That's
don't
right.
want term limits.
Right, because they don't want to be
Exactly.
kicked out of their spot. And I mean, history shows, and the present shows, and the future shows us too, that people typically do not want to run against an incumbent, especially if that incumbent has been in that position for a very long time. And what that does is it limits people. It limits people from wanting to run for office and serve.
Yeah.
So the term limits. So we have to have a change of hands, but you have a change of people. You have a change of ideas, and there's nothing wrong with that. And people grow up and out of a position just as much as they grow into a position.
Yep.
And so that's where I look at term limits. I've got a question for you from James McClelland. So sorry, James. Question for Mr. Wes. As a judge, who would you depend on to make sure your court system runs good and everything and everyone keeps in order? So honestly, does office staff keep the office in order to make sure you could walk in the office and your day goes smooth with no issues? The office personnel, there's awesome and treat everyone with utmost kindness and respect. So there was a little commentary. I'm going to go back to the question. As a judge, who would you depend on to make sure your court system runs good and everything and everyone keeps in order?
Well, it's all ladies that work up front, and those ladies work hard. We have a chief clerk, Christy Moss, that's excellent. Her and I actually started. She started with the court, and I started with the constable's office on the same day. But all the ladies are just awesome. They work hard. They're actually there at like 6:30 in the morning, and the window doesn't open till 8. A lot of people think that. A lot of people think about, they see the window. They think everything happens right there, but no, it's all going on behind. In fact, I've never seen a line at that window.
Because they run so smooth.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
And in fact, I've talked to them about one change I was going to make is we're going to split up lunch hours to where we don't shut the window at lunchtime. I mean, that just makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Now, every once in a while, we will shut it down. We're all going to go to lunch together because that's a good morale builder and everything like that.
But no, that's a great idea because a lot of people try to go do something at their lunchtime. And then if that's y'all's group lunch, if everyone is gone, then that defeats the purpose of me trying to come down and try to take care of my business.
Yeah, we're going to work as a crew, and I will be part of the crew. Of course, I'm going to depend on them. I hope I can depend on them.
Right.
No.
I do have another question for you. Jamie Stanford wants to know what is your stance on property taxes here in Johnson County?
They're too high. I feel sorry for people that don't have kids that are paying school taxes. I feel sorry for people whose kids have moved in moved away and stuff like that. I think once you hit a certain age, probably 65, they
Mhm.
should go away.
So yeah, like completely.
Right.
Instead of it just being frozen,
Mhm.
and they can't
Yeah,
raise
well,
it.
I mean, at the very minimum, we need to freeze them.
Right, right.
But yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I think once you're not out actively part of the economy, once you're retired,
Mhm.
and then yeah, you shouldn't have to. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
you pay for your house, but from that point on, we paid our house off in 8 years. My wife taught me you don't live within your means. You live below your means.
Mhm.
That's the only way you're going to get ahead. So, but I've been, I mean, it's like we paid our house off, but now we're having to pay rent to the state and the county.
Yeah.
You know, and it's mine free and clear, but I'm still having. It's like I'm
right.
You know, it's like you're paying the. No, I don't want to say that. It's like you're paying protection. You're if you don't pay it, your house, you're gonna lose your house.
It's like the mafia. You can say it.
That's right.
It's those
Those
days,
of us who feel like it is.
Yes,
Yep.
I mean, I think I don't know anybody who doesn't feel that way anymore. To be honest,
Yeah.
I mean, we're just constantly paying for something we've already paid for ourselves, and are there better ways of doing it? I think yes, and I think there's a lot of really great
Well,
ideas out there.
We get taxed coming and going. We get it when we earn our money. When we spend our money, we're paying sales tax. You know, if you make investments, and you make money, you got to pay. You got to give the government their cut. You know, and it's there are people out there that are just literally living off of Social Security,
right?
And
and that gets taxed.
Yeah, and it got taxed when it got paid too.
Right.
So they there are people who are really struggling, and it's there's no need.
So what else? We've got 5 minutes left. I'm going to ask you a couple of really important questions that could be game changers for this first vote on Monday that are important to people. It's a debate that we see on social media quite often.
A hard one.
And that's about toilet paper. And it's, do you put it on the roll over or under?
If you look at the patent, it's supposed to be coming over the top towards you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
See, I'm an over-the-top guy, but everything in my house is under.
Really?
And I fight it every time I swap it out.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So every time I'm gonna throw her. I'm throwing her under the bus.
Throwing Shelley
Every
under the
time
bus.
Shelley Pandish comes into the
Well,
radio station, she will go to the bathroom on purpose. Does it at my house too, and she will
swap
turn
it.
it under.
Uh-huh.
She
She
will
will.
turn it under, and I keep telling her, listen, when you keep it under, it's touching the wall. If it's a
That's true.
the old standard toilet paper holder, but
Well, and you can tell the people who own cats too. They put it under.
oh,
No, I have
is that
cats.
why? Is
I
that a
go
thing?
over.
Yeah.
I'm an over.
Does the
not
cat
a-
not roll it out into the floor when they start scratching it?
My cats have actually been really good about not.
I didn't
doing
know
the-
this was a thing. I'm
Sorry,
not a
Wes.
cat.
Look, what I don't like about the under is if it tears off on the other side, you're
It's
like,
such a
You
pain
got
to get
you
to.
can't get to it. It's true. It's true. This is an ongoing debate. We're going to keep having this toilet paper debate on the radio station,
I
on
think it
social
should be
media.
on the ballot.
I think that's really good. But I'm with you. I have gone and searched for the patent as well, and I've seen the diagram, and it literally shows that it's
Over the
over.
top.
Over,
So I love that you
yeah.
brought up the patent. All right,
Yes.
your next tough question is before we begin voting on February 14th, there's a big football game on Sunday. Do you got a pick?
no,
No,
I don't care.
you don't care.
No,
That's
I-
my man right there. I don't care either.
First off, I was never really a big football fan because when I was a kid, I was skinny, and I would have gotten killed if I'd played football. I was as tall as I am now, but it takes 60 pounds off of me. Okay,
Oh,
I couldn't hold my seat down at the movies. Okay, so
Bring the phone
I
book.
was-
I
I was-
understand what you're saying.
yeah, and but when they started kneeling during the national anthem, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I have no use for those
That was it
people
for you.
anymore.
Mhm.
If you don't respect the flag, people they say the flag represents first responders in the military. It means a lot more than that.
Right.
I was both, and I'll tell you, it represents my grandmother. Okay, it represents every little kid. And if you don't respect that flag, you don't respect America. If you don't respect America, you're anti-American, and I ain't got no use for those people.
Yeah,
That
I agree there.
that's it.
Wes Powell speaking on behalf of the majority of veterans in this country,
Right.
And active duty service,
Not just
and
not
I'm
just veterans.
and first responders too. I mean, the bottom line is you've got people in this country who look at that flag and believe that too many people died for it for you to be sitting on your knees.
Yeah, and
they do that for sports just because they
For
need to get
our
that attention.
freedom. Our freedom.
one of the deployments I had to go to was Rota, Spain, and my son was about 7 years old. And if you've ever been on a military base when they have colors, when they're bringing the flag up or down, I was off that day, and I was coming back from the
reveille and retreat.
Yep, and I was coming back from the golf course. I was off that day, but everything stops. So I stood there and I put my hand over my heart, and I watched the flag come down, and I thought about the people in my family, including a 7-year-old boy that I was raising alone, that was waiting on me.
And he knew to stop too. I used to live right outside of Corey Station in Pensacola, and dated a Navy instructor actually who worked on base, and so I know exactly what you're talking about. And I'm from a very large military family and a Marine Corps family. My father's a Purple Heart decorated Vietnam veteran Marine, so Semper Fi, Dad. And so this it's huge. I mean, it's huge. It's really, really important to him too, as it should be important to all of us. I appreciate you joining us. We've got a minute left. So for people who are listening and watching, tell them where they can reach out to you and get any questions answered. Again, I want to say this. I said this, at the half break. These candidates are here for you, and they are open to all questions. Do your own due diligence and reach out to them and ask them the questions that you want answered, so you can get to know them from them, they themselves. So electwespowell.com. That's Powell with 2 L's. And you can also reach him at wespowell@electwespowell.com. That's his email address. Or you can reach out to his treasurer if there's any questions.
Well, there's also a Facebook. If you go to the bottom of my
your website, you've got a Facebook as well.
Yeah,
yes.
And I've had trouble advertising on Facebook. I'm afraid they're not letting me advertise because of 4 words.
I can show you how to do it. It's different. They've changed things up, so I can help you learn how to do that. Thank you, Wes, for joining us. Ron, thanks for joining us. Thank you guys for joining us. Be back tomorrow. We have more candidates joining us from Johnson County. Have an amazing day. God bless.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, JoCo Community Radio.